Hi, Norma Shephard here once again with another hat chat. I'm the director of the Mobile Millinery Museum and the author of 1,000 Hats. We've traveled around for over 20 years presenting retrospective millinery fashion shows. Hats are our specialty. We love them, but we have all sorts of other fashion artifacts that help put the hats into fashion context and into social context. What I want to talk about today is how to wear a vintage hat, how to bring it into your fashion wardrobe. Many people at our shows and who contact me through social media lament that they love hats, they would love to wear hats, they wish hats would come back, but they themselves don't wear them, and they have lots of reasons, maybe slash excuses, I'm not sure, as to why they don't. Most people don't know um, how to bring it into their modern wardrobe. Nobody wants to look like a caricature of previous fashion era, but these beautiful hats are sculptural pieces that still stand the test of time and can look great if you um, maximize their potential. Wear them with what I'm going to talk about today, and that is the appropriate jewelry to really bring the hat into to make fashion sense so that you don't just look like you've just perched an old hat on your head. It's going to make fashion sense with your outfit. And the key to that is the appropriate jewelry. I'm going to talk specifically today about 1970s and 1970s inspired hats. So there will be future videos on other fashion decades. Everybody has their favorite. And let's just dig right in. I love this topic. This I want to say that the hats of the 1970s were very textural, just like everything else. The decor in the 70s, very textural. And of course, the 1970s was sort of ushering in this age of the demise, the decline of millinery. Hat makers were doing what they could. They were often creating unisex styles, hoping to, encourage people to continue buying hats, which they really were starting to stop doing. Starting to stop, it's a weird thing to say. Anyway, also designers in the 60s had cottoned on to the fact that they could begin designing specifically for teenagers, for younger girls, not just for mature women. And some of these hats will reflect that aesthetic. So I want to start with this one. The colors are fabulous. As is the texture. So this is a velvet piece, and it's just too wonderful for words. It is lined with satin, and this is a Mr. John Jr. That's an American designer. I should turn it so that you can see the label properly. Mr. John, that label, his label for teens, of course, Mr. John Jr. So it's got this floppy brim. Generally, when you think of the iconic floppy brim hats from the 1970s, you think of a much wider brim. So this is more of a bucket hat style, which they're back. So I think it's a great style to start with. How would you accessorize this with jewelry? Well, what I would do, I think a nice, whoops, we don't want to show the label there. I'm going to turn it around and show it properly. Maybe I could look at this girl while I'm doing this. Yeah, that's better. I think a gold tone necklace would really accessorize this hat quite nicely. And this is a vintage piece. It's a brass mesh piece. This is not from the 70s. This is actually from a little earlier, and I think it looks quite wonderful with this. But any gold tone bracelet, necklace, bangle would certainly look great with this hat. That's what I would recommend. So I want to talk about a more functional hat from the 1970s that could easily be worn today, and that is the sun hat. Let's face it, there's lots of practical reasons to wear these straw hats. You can see how wide the brim is. It can keep the sun off the back of your neck. You think you're protected with a little hat, but you can get a sunburn even with just a little bit of skin showing. And of course, we're always careful to protect ourselves from the harmful rays of the sun. This is the front. This brim turns up and the brim slopes at the back, and it's very simply trimmed with grosgrain ribbon and banded. So it's kind of simple. It's a great hat for the beach and was worn that way in the 70s. So could be worn with a play suit, with a swimsuit, even with a bathing suit and cover up. It's big and bold, brightly colored. And what I would recommend with that is, especially since it's a summer hat, and you may want to even, get in the water with it. I do when I'm swimming. I don't really swim, but I get in a pool and I wear my sunglasses and my hat. But I think some white plastic bangles and beads are a really nice accessory for a hat like this. These, I think, just came out of a jewelry jar. Very inexpensive and easy to pair with a hat like this. So now we're going to put her down for a second, and I want to show you a more special occasion hat from the 1970s. Of course, in the 1960s, the designers were giving us mini skirts. The rule of millinery as far as balancing silhouette was that the higher the hat, the shorter the skirt. So going even into the 70s, we were still looking at mini skirts, although we were also getting into midi length and maxi length, as everyone knows. But so this hat could easily be worn with a maxi length summer print dress, or a stretch knit. You could wear it with a short little set as well, but it's definitely meant for special occasion. It has these wonderful bands of lacquered black straw in concentric circles. I don't see a label on this one. This is one of those anonymous ones. But you'll see that the trim on this gives us a hint as to how to accessorize it. So these are little faceted plastic beads that are placed around where the crown meets the band. And this hat meets the brim. I mean, this hat, the crown would extend towards the back and the brim would slightly frame your face. A really nice accessory to make this hat look sensible would be some faceted black beads. So you can see how that mirrors that little touch of black on the hat. And this, of course, would help frame your face. You've got the hat above, and then this wonderful vintage strand of faceted plastic beads around your neck. It's going to be a great accessory for that. Now, I'm going to talk about another special occasion 1970s piece, and this is rather an iconic look. In the late 1960s, early 1970s, some of you may remember the Puritan pumps, they were called. And those were low-heeled, flat-heeled shoes, often rounded-toed, certainly not pointed, sometimes square-toed, that we wore with mini skirts. So again, to complement the silhouette, you needed a low heel, a very high crown, and short hemline. So you can see, now these Puritan pumps often had buckles across the toe, and you get a sense of where the inspiration came from. So this is a very Puritan looking hat that would complement those shoes. And but if it's accessorized improperly, it might look sort of costumish, or all right to wear to Halloween, to a Halloween party, but you don't want to be sitting there hoping someone's going to serve you a turkey, But this hat still, it's a beautiful quality straw with the double color banding, the rolled grosgrain ribbon. I mean, it's in wonderful condition, just a beautiful piece. And I would accessorize this with something like these wonderful Botswana agate earrings. I assure you, I have both earrings. I have the pair, but I've only got two hands, so I'm holding the hat and the earring. But you can see how this would draw the ear down. I mean, draw the eye down to frame the face with the earrings. And the earrings are wonderfully bold, bold enough to complement the band, the orange, the high crown, and to make this hat make sense. So, and also in keeping with the 1970s aesthetic, a lot of natural materials, that sort of thing. So I think that's a great combo. Now, this is more of a winter piece, this next one. This is, again, a high crown 1970s. It's got a fabulous label. If you happen to be lucky enough to have found a vintage Schiaparelli made in Paris, why wouldn't you want to wear it? Let's find a way to wear it. Again, it can be very dramatic. The crown is going to extend to the back. You've got a little bit of brim over your brow. It's actually sort of a beehive style that was popular because hairdressers in that era were doing teased up hair, and milliners had to deal with that. But this would look just as cute with a bob or with straight hair. And the way to make sense of this hat, I would suggest, because you've got the very bold but simple silver lame band and bow, I would accessorize this with some type of silver necklace. I would recommend a long necklace, which will draw the eye down, and you can see. So the hat's not sitting out there in outer space looking peculiar. So it's all part of your ensemble, draws the eye down, and it's very simple and bold. You know, according to me, sometimes with the right hat, the right jewelry, sometimes the right shoes, you barely need to consider what you're wearing in between. So it's it's the accessories that are really gonna make it. Another one I want to show you is this felt piece. Now this is very typical of the 1970s. A lot of the hats that you find from that era weren't as well made as this. This is a designer hat, a Chez Jean, and it's beaver felt, almost you know, you'd easily wear blue jeans with this, but this can also be quite a dressy hat. Again, it's very textural, this beautiful heavy felt, and the trimming is simply done with these bold triangles in the contrasting black. So what I recommend to make sense of this hat is something that's going to draw the eye downward, something that will coordinate with the black felt, and I would make a choice of something a little bold. So you could certainly wear silver hoops with this. You could wear gold hoops with this, but I would, again, it's probably best if I just show you one. I would select something like this, very bold, even though the stones on this, these glass stones, are not rectangular like the trimming on the hat. They still are geometric. They're nice and big and bold, and this would make a nice statement with this type of hat. And also it would reference very typical styles from the 1970s. I believe I have a bracelet here that will also, no, maybe I don't. Oh, yes, I do. So also, you know, bangles. This particular one, this is a 1970s piece with the cameo. It's a hinged bangle, and the black again would draw your eye to the band on the hat. And you can find these. I think this as well is another jewelry jar find. So that is, oh, I think I have one more. Sorry. No, I don't. I'm sorry. Okay, so what I do need to tell you again is the hat that I'm wearing today. This is a black velvet. Don't need to save your velvets necessarily for winter. This is a wonderful little cocktail piece, a fascinator. Could be worn to a wedding with the right ensemble. Trimmed with feathers. We have some silver sequins, and it's just a really secure little fascinator on a chignon strap. Goes under the hair, doesn't move. This is made by Canadian milliner Maria Kursick. Check her out, she's fabulous. So thank you for watching. If you like these videos, please hit like, hit subscribe. Do comment if you have questions of what you'd like me to discuss, and I'll be happy to address them. Thanks for watching, and have a happy evening.